Picture this. You open your mailbox in January, and there it is, a letter from Social Security telling you your monthly check just went up. You feel that little spark of relief? Maybe you already started thinking about what you would do with the extra money, a nicer dinner out, a little more breathing room for groceries, maybe finally fixing that thing around the house that has been bothering you for months. But here is something almost nobody tells you when that letter shows up. A big chunk of that raise might already be gone before you even see it land in your account. And today, right here on Retire Rich News, I'm going to walk you through exactly where that money disappears to, step by step, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. If you are retired, getting close to retirement, or you are helping a parent figure this stuff out, stay with me for the next few minutes, because what you are about to hear could change how you plan the rest of this year. And the wild part is, this is not some rare glitch in the system that only happens once in a blue moon. This same pattern repeats year after year, almost like clockwork, and most people never connect the dots because nobody sits them down and walks them through it line by line. That is exactly what we are going to do together right now. So by the end of this video, you will understand your Social Security check better than most financial advisors explain it to their own clients. So let us start with the good news, because there is some. In 2026, Social Security benefits went up by 2.8%. That might not sound like a huge number, but for the average retiree, it works out to about $56 extra a month. For a married couple both collecting benefits, that number jumps to around $88 more each month. On paper, that looks like a solid little bump, the kind of thing that should make life just a bit easier. And if you stopped reading the letter right there, you would walk away feeling pretty good about it, maybe even start mentally spending that money before it ever shows up. But here is where the story gets complicated, and this is the part that catches so many retirees off guard every single year, sometimes for years in a row without ever fully understanding why. That same Social Security increase is built using something called the Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA for short. It is calculated using an inflation measure that tracks prices for a very specific group of workers, not specifically retirees. So right out of the gate, the formula itself does not always match what older Americans are actually spending money on, especially when it comes to healthcare and housing, two of the biggest expenses retirees deal with day to day. That mismatch alone is reason number one. Your raise might feel smaller than it looks on paper, and it sets the stage for everything else we are about to cover. Now let us talk about reason number two, and honestly, this is the big one. This is the one that quietly eats more of your raise than almost anything else, and it catches even financially savvy retirees off guard. It is your Medicare Part B premium. Most people on Social Security have their Medicare Part B premium automatically deducted straight from their monthly check before it ever reaches their bank account. You never even see that money. It just quietly disappears before the deposit hits. In 2026, that premium jumped from $185 a month to right around $203 a month. That is roughly a 9.5% increase, more than 3 times the size of the COLA raise itself. So picture this clearly. Your check goes up by $56 because of the COLA, but your Medicare premium goes up by about $18 at the same time. That means almost a third of your raise is gone before you even notice it left. For some retirees, depending on their starting numbers, the actual extra cash they see each month ends up closer to $35 or $40, not the full $56 everyone is talking about on the news. That right there is the Medicare Trap, and it happens almost every single year, but barely anyone talks about it out loud. The headlines focus on the COLA increase because it sounds like good news. It gives people something positive to celebrate. Nobody puts out a flashy headline that says your real raise is smaller once you subtract healthcare costs. But that is the truth, and it is the truth you need to plan around if you want to actually budget accurately instead of being surprised every spring when the numbers do not add up the way you expected. Reason number 3 is something called IRMAA, which stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. Basically, if your income is above certain thresholds, Medicare charges you extra on top of the standard premium for both Part B and Part D prescription coverage. Now, this does not hit every retiree, but if you have a pension, rental income, investment income, or you are still working part-time, you might be surprised to find yourself paying more than you expected, sometimes hundreds of dollars more per month than someone with a slightly lower income. And here is the tricky part. IRMAA is based on your income from 2 years earlier, so a good income year a while back, maybe from selling a property or a one-time withdrawal, could be quietly costing you extra money on your Medicare bill today, even if your income has since gone down significantly. A lot of retirees do not realize this connection exists until they see the higher premium show up and have no idea why. Reason number 4 ties back into something we touched on already, but it deserves its own spotlight, and that is healthcare costs in general, beyond just the Part B premium itself. Think about prescription drugs, dental work, hearing aids, vision care, all the things that tend to become more necessary as we get older, and all the things that tend to rise in price faster than general inflation year after year. The COLA calculation does not specifically account for the unique healthcare burden that retirees carry compared to younger working households. So even after you survive the Medicare premium hit, you are often left facing higher out-of-pocket costs for everything else related to your health, costs that eat further into that raise you were celebrating back in January, sometimes without you even connecting the dots. Now, before we get into the last few reasons, because there is still some important ground to cover, if you are finding this breakdown helpful, do me a quick favor and hit that like button right now. And if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to Retire Rich News. We put out content like this every single week, breaking down Exactly what is happening with Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning in plain simple language. No confusing jargon, no fluff, just the straight facts you actually need. It genuinely helps the channel grow when you do that, and it takes about 2 seconds of your time. Alright, let us keep going because the next 3 reasons might surprise you even more than the ones we already covered. Reason number 5 is one that catches a lot of people by surprise the first time they hear it, and that is taxes on your Social Security benefits. Yes, you read that right. Your Social Security check itself can be taxable. Depending on your total income, a portion of your benefit can actually be taxable at the federal level. And here is the sneaky part. The income thresholds that determine whether your benefits get taxed have not been adjusted for inflation in decades. That means every single year, as COLA raises push retiree incomes up just a little bit, more and more people who were never taxed before suddenly find themselves crossing that line for the very first time. Your raise is technically pushing you closer to owing the government a piece of it back. It is one of those quiet little traps built right into the system that almost nobody explains clearly until you are already sitting across from your tax preparer wondering what happened. Reason number 6 is something that depends entirely on where you live, and that is state taxes. Most states do not tax Social Security benefits anymore, and that list has actually grown in recent years as more states drop the tax altogether, which is genuinely good news for a lot of retirees, but there are still a handful of states out there that do tax at least a portion of your benefits. If you happen to live in one of those states, your raise gets squeezed even further once state tax season rolls around. This is exactly why understanding your specific state's rules matters so much, because two retirees with the exact same Social Security check could end up with very different amounts of real spendable money depending purely on their zip code and nothing else about their finances. Think about a retired couple. Let us call them Tom and Linda, just as an example. Tom worked 35 years as an electrician. Linda spent 20 years teaching elementary school before retiring. On paper, their combined COLA raise for 2026 looks great, close to $90 more each month. But once you factor in both of their Medicare Part B premiums going up, a little bit of their benefit becoming taxable because of a small pension Tom receives, and the fact that they live in one of the handful of states that still taxes a portion of Social Security income, their actual extra spending money for the year ends up being a fraction of what that first letter promised. This is not some rare or unusual situation either. It is closer to the normal experience for a huge number of retired households across the country. They just rarely realize all the pieces are connected until someone walks them through it like we are doing right now. And reason number 7, the final piece of this puzzle, is the earnings test. Now, this one only applies if you are collecting Social Security benefits while still working and you have not yet reached your full retirement age in 2026. If you are under full retirement age for the entire year, you can earn up to $24,480 before Social Security starts withholding money from your check, $1 for every $2 you earn above that limit. If you are reaching full retirement age sometime during the year, that limit jumps up to $65,160 with a slightly gentler reduction of $1 for every $3 earned above it. So if you are one of the many retirees who picked up part-time work to stay active or to bring in a little extra income, this rule could be quietly reducing your check even further, right on top of everything else we just talked about. So when you add all of this together, the Medicare premium increase, IRMAA for higher income retirees, rising out-of-pocket healthcare costs, federal taxation on benefits, state taxes in certain places, and the earnings test for those still working, you start to see the full picture. That $56 raise everyone is talking about is really just the starting number, not the ending number. For a lot of retirees, by the time everything gets factored in, the real increase in their pocket is significantly smaller than what the headlines promised back in the fall when the announcement first came out. Now here is the important question, the one that actually matters more than any of the 7 reasons we just walked through. What can you actually do about all of this? First, it genuinely helps to sit down once a year and look at your full financial picture, not just your Social Security check in isolation, but your Medicare premiums, your other income sources, and your state's tax rules, all together as one connected system rather than separate puzzle pieces. Second, if you are close to those IRMAA income thresholds, it may be worth talking with a financial professional about timing your income in a way that helps you stay under the line, since that decision today can affect your Medicare premium 2 years from now. Third, if you are still working and collecting benefits early, understanding the earnings test limits before you take on extra hours can save you from an unpleasant surprise on a future statement. None of this means the system is impossible to navigate. It just means going in with your eyes open instead of only celebrating the headline number and being caught off guard later when the real deposit hits your account. And fourth, mark your calendar to revisit these numbers every single year, because every single one of these 7 factors can shift slightly from one year to the next, which means the plan that worked perfectly for you last year might need a small adjustment this year. The bigger lesson here, the one we talk about again and again on this channel, is that Social Security was never designed to be your entire retirement plan. It is one piece of a much larger puzzle, and the more you understand how all these pieces interact with each other, the Medicare premiums, the tax thresholds, the earnings rules, the better positioned you are to actually keep more of what you have earned over a lifetime of working hard and paying into this system. If this video helped you understand what is really happening with your Social Security check this year, do me one more favor before you go. Drop a comment below and let me know which one of these 7 reasons surprised you the most. I genuinely read through these comments and it helps me know what to cover next on this channel. And If you know someone, a parent, a neighbor, a friend who is dealing with this exact same confusion about their Social Security check, go ahead and share this video with them. It might save them some real money and a lot of frustration down the road. Thank you so much for watching Retire Rich News, and I will see you in the next one.